Good morning and welcome to GBN Live. It's Wednesday, it's GBN. We want to thank our guest host, Grand Strand Law Group. You can contact them at 843-492-5422. They are located in Myrtle Beach and North Myrtle Beach. Don't forget to give permission to Facebook so we can view your comments. You might have to go to StreamYard.com Facebook. If you have any questions for GBN today, please type them in your comments and we will do our best to get them answered here at GBN Live. Today's guest is Samantha Snyder. She's with Joan, Herlong and Associates Realtor in Greenville Networking Chapter. Stay tuned. GBN Live is next. So good morning again. Today's guest is Samantha Snyder with Joan, Herlong and Associates Realty in the Greenville Networking Success Chapter. My name is Lori Wetherill. I am in the Rivertown chapter in Conway, South Carolina. Before we get started, Miss Samantha, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're originally from, your family, some of your background?
Yeah, so I am originally from upstate New York. I'm from Syracuse. Most people only know that if they're into sports. They know what Syracuse is, but it's kind of right in the center of the state. I met my husband when I was in college, and at the time he was stationed at the Pentagon. So I went to my last final. I took it. I have no idea whether I passed it or not at the time, but I got right in my car and drove straight down to Virginia. We spent about a year and a half or so in Washington, D.C. area. He was in the military, so we kind of bounced around up and down the East Coast a little bit. We were in Alabama. We stayed in New York for a little while. Most of our family is still in New York, although some of his family has moved down here. And my sister and her husband, who is also my partner, they moved down here shortly after we did. So it's been a nice move. It's been worth it. I love Greenville. I love not having to shovel. That's been the best part. So we've kind of become the place where when family does vacation, this is where they go.
Nice. Yeah, coming from Colorado, I've been watching their weather, and I guess it's been just horrific out there. I still have a son that lives there, and it's just all the time brutal. So, all right. So we all know that the real estate market is starting to boom again. Where are you seeing the market in Greenville area?
So right now, we're kind of getting back to where we were in those pre-COVID years. Mm-hmm. So these last couple of years have been an anomaly. The market has been all over the place. So we're kind of now seeing that more of an even balance between buyer market and seller market. So that has been very nice. You know, we're not seeing the 7 or 8 offers on a property after it's been on the market for an hour. And there's, the market is one of those things. It's always changing. I like to tell people the market is fickle because it does. It always changes. It always ebbs and flows. So when people come and they ask me, hey, Samantha, how's the market? It's kind of like, that's the wrong question because the market is always changing. And where one person benefits, another person might not in the same exact type of market. So I always tell people the question you want to ask is, hey, Samantha, how can I capitalize in this market? What can I do to benefit myself in this type of market?
Yeah, because real estate, mortgages, and gas prices, we were all, comparing those yesterday and said, they're all kind of like gas prices are now. High, take a little low, go back up, go back down, go back up. And it's just, you not know from one day to the next.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, overall in Greenville, we're seeing prices increase, not the way that we were obviously in 2021 and 22.
$20,000 a day.
Yes, you're not seeing those, astronomical skyrocketing prices. But it is, average price point is continuing to climb, but so is average days on market.
Right.
We are kind of seeing a little bit more of that balancing act. Spring market's right around the corner. That, historically tends to change things a little bit just because that's when you see the most uptick in buyer activity.
Exactly.
It becomes a little bit more seller friendly in spring market usually, but there's also more inventory. So as a buyer, there's good opportunity there as well.
So all the people that have been waiting to find something are now going to be able to find something because people are going to start putting things on the market, and you'll see a little bit better balance.
Yes. So we'll see, again, historically, we do tend to see more inventory, but part of that is because sellers know that this is the busiest time of year for buyer
Right.
activity.
Right.
More inventory, but there's also more competition, which is why
Exactly.
it's really important to align yourself with somebody, with a mortgage lender and with a real estate agent who knows what's going on, who knows when you need to jump and how fast you need to jump.
Exactly. So is there a particular area in Greenville doing better than any of the other ones right now, or are you seeing it all across the board?
I mean, we are seeing growth all across the board. Greenville has grown so fast, and all of these surrounding areas are really benefiting from it. A couple of years ago, it was hard to get people to want to live in Greer or where I live. I live right on the cusp of Simpsonville and Fountain Inn. I cried when I first moved here because I thought to myself, "Oh my goodness, we're in the middle of nowhere. I'm never going to see my friends. I'm never going to do things again. It's desolate out here." And it's changed. It is drastically changed. So we're seeing influxes of people in all these surrounding areas. We're seeing these main streets really increasing the amount of business that they have. And we're seeing all these new businesses come around as well, which has been fantastic for the local economy. I would probably say if there's an area growing faster than the others, might be that area in and around downtown.
Okay.
But again, Greenville has been in, I don't know how many magazines, top 10 lists over the past 3 to 5 years. So it's no surprise that the area in and around downtown is absolutely booming.
Yeah, it's a nice town or city. So is new construction or resale homes doing stronger right now?
I wouldn't necessarily say one is doing better than the other. Across the board in this market, everything is doing well. If you have inventory, you're doing well. So it really depends on what a buyer is looking for. So the good thing is for people who are in the new construction world, whether they're in new construction doing, spec homes and tract homes, or whether they're in new construction doing these huge, massive custom homes, there is a demand for that. There's demand for both. And the demand for, pre-existing homes is incredibly high as well. So I don't necessarily know if one is doing better than the other or if one is stronger than the other, but across the board, if you have inventory, you're doing well.
Nice. So in your area, well, in Myrtle Beach right now, condos are becoming very popular. Are you seeing more of an increase in single family homes or like condo townhouses?
So there's always going to be, especially an area like this, with as many subdivisions as we have and all these little surrounding areas that we have around Greenville, there's always going to be that demand for single family homes. But what's been really interesting, especially these past couple of years, is I'm noticing more and more people are looking for condos and townhomes. They're wanting that lifestyle. There's buyers that I've worked with kind of on and off for a couple of years here and there who would have never, ever considered a townhome or a condo 3 years ago. But now they see the market in Greenville. Now they see how much the downtown has grown. And all of a sudden, condos and townhomes are looking very appetizing. So where once people didn't see the value so much in them, it's a lot easier to see the value there now.
Nice. So what do you tell a client who, say, is looking at that condo or whatever downtown and it's highly overpriced or it's at the high end of the comps in the area? How do you address that with your clients?
Gosh, I feel like that's what I spent all last year doing.
Right?
Yes. But what we do is look at the data, compile all of that information in a way that it makes sense and shows the story of, what's going on with this property and that it is overpriced compared to everything going on around it. We look at recent sales, we look at what's currently under contract and what the competition is as well. So all of those tell the story of, hey, this home is overpriced. We're big believers, myself personally, but my team, my office, full client transparency. And we want to really show you the whole story, be fully honest with you, let you know what we're seeing. So I will bring all that data to a client and tell them, hey, this is overpriced. You're going to be overpaying. But I want them to make sure that they're making a fully informed decision. So I can give them all the data. I can give them all the information. I can give them my thoughts, my opinions on it. At the end of the day, it's their decision whether or not they're going to buy it. But it's my priority to make sure that they are not unknowingly overpaying for something. So if they have all the data and they make the fully informed decision to still go forth and knowingly overpay and buy it, and that happens sometimes. That does happen sometimes. There are people in situations where the convenience is worth more than that $10,000 is to them. So it absolutely depends on the buyer, but most importantly, you want to give them the information. You want to be honest with them. Let them know exactly what they're looking at so they can make that fully informed decision.
And sometimes you find a house that you walk into and it's you.
Yes.
And the comfort level there, when I moved here, I said I didn't want to live any more than 15 minutes from the beach. Well, that didn't happen. I walked into this house because I was driving 2 hours just to look at houses. And so my realtor said, why don't I go and preview them? And she said, but I think I want you to look at this house because I think this is exactly what you're looking for. But I want to make sure. So during the next time I looked at houses, I went into this house and I was like, man, I don't like you anymore. It was the perfect house for me. It's the layout and everything that I've always wanted. And I said, nope, it's too far from the beach. And I said, nope, it is too far from the beach for like 6 weeks. And in that 6 weeks, we went back and looked at it like 3 different times. And so that's where I live. And it's just like, man, this is not anywhere close to the beach. But I've made it kind of part of my daily, thing. If I want to come to the beach, then I just plan to do business in that area. And then I plan it to where at the end of the day, I'm at the beach and I can just go to the beach. So, but yeah, sometimes it's a matter of personal, whatever, like you said, this is where I want to be, the convenience of walking around instead of driving everywhere. Restaurants are close, everything else. So that was really good.
Well, and when it's right, it's right. And I know that sounds cheesy and cliche, and you always see, especially around Valentine's Day, you see the, memes popping up of people like, oh, I'm not a real estate agent, I'm a matchmaker. And it's cheesy, but it is kind of true.
Yeah.
Buying a home it's an emotional process.
Absolutely.
For some investors, it can be very emotional because some investors, depending on why they're looking in certain areas, there may be emotional ties there. So buying a home is an emotional process. And sometimes when it's right, it's right. But again, it's my job to make sure you're not unknowingly overpaying just because it's right. It's nice to get excited with my clients and fall in love with the home with them and be happy for them in their process. But I still have a duty to make sure that they know 100% what they're getting into.
Yeah, I like that. So we're going to take a break. And after the break, we're going to find out why Samantha does what she does. For now, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Jess the San. I've been a canine liaison at Grand Strand Law Group for, 30 years? What's that? You don't believe me? I meant 30 dog years, of course. First rule of lawyering, read the fine print. Anywho, my humans at Grand Strand Law Group have a combined 20 years experience. I know, not as much as me, but that's in people years. So yeah, still pretty impressive. Real estate, estate planning, or probate, you need GSLG.
Grand Strand Law Group. Trust us, we have a dog.
Great Business Networking grew out of the idea that by creating lasting friendships within the community, we can make the community even better.
I was looking to network with professionals and to be able to refer my clients to somebody that I trust.
Well, it's really important to trust the members of the group because we really generate quality referrals, and to know somebody, be friends with them, and get that qualified referral is the key to success.
It is networking, but it doesn't feel like networking, and that is important to me. I come to the meetings, I have fun, I make great connections, and I help grow my business.
GBN, these are some of the best professionals in the market, and having that resource available to me, that's priceless.
Well, GBN is a network of business professionals that build long-lasting friendships that will not only grow my business, will grow yours as well. That's what referral marketing is all about.
GBN really is the most important marketing for your business. Check us out today.
Welcome back, Samantha. So we have Samantha Snyder with Joan, Herlong and Associate Realty. She is in the Greenville Networking Success Chapter. We want to thank our sponsor, Grand Strand Law, at 843-492-5422. They are located in Myrtle Beach and North Myrtle Beach. You can also contact them at grandstrandlawgroup.com. If you have questions for GBN or today's guest, please type them in your comments and we'll do our best to get them answered here at GBN Live. So, Ms. Samantha, we all have the last few months have been a strong seller's market and some properties selling for tens of thousands over appraised value. Are you still seeing any of that going on? Are you seeing that maybe appraisals aren't coming in high enough? Have you seen anything crazy?
So for us up here in Greenville, that kind of started slowing down, I want to say back in end of June, early July, maybe even some signs of it a little bit sooner than that. So that whole craziness of people saying, I'm not having any inspections done and I'm going to waive my appraisal and I'm going to pay this much over. We really haven't seen much of that the past 6 or 7 months or so,
right.
Which is a good thing. We kind of felt that shift from that ridiculous craziness market, that kind of feeding frenzy. We felt the shift from that into, I don't want to say normal because there's no such thing as normal, but
more normal.
Even. We kind of felt that shift into a more even market, a more buyer-friendly market towards the end of summer last year.
Nice.
Sorry.
You're fine.
My leg is falling asleep from sitting in the same position for too long. But yeah, so that has been nice to kind of, especially for buyers. Sellers, some of them, it took a little while for them to catch up. We were still seeing, for a while there, homes that were very overpriced on the market. And 6 or 7 months prior to that, probably would have sold for around that price.
Yeah.
But the market has shifted. And for a while there, we're seeing price drops pretty consistently as sellers started to realize, hey, the world has changed again.
Yeah. That's hard as a buyer and a seller to know exactly what time to buy. But you have to kind of take that out of it and say, look, if I like the house, if it's time to move, it's time to do it.
Well, and that goes back to the whole, not necessarily any such thing as a good market or a bad market, because good for one is not so great for the other. So it's really looking at the market and aligning yourself with a professional and saying, what is the market doing now? What can I do to best benefit from these current conditions?
Well, and if you're selling in a down market, then guess what? You're going to buy in a down market too. Right. If you're selling in a high market, you're going to buy in a high market. So, it always goes hand in hand.
Exactly.
So what factors would you tell somebody right now if they were thinking of selling their home?
If somebody was thinking of selling their home now, the first thing I would tell them to do is please contact a realtor. Make sure that you are talking to a professional, and really you should have done it a couple weeks ago because spring market is coming up, and spring market is usually your opportunity as a seller. Historically, spring market is the best opportunity to sell most quickly and for top dollar. Now, I say you should have talked to somebody a week ago. That being said, there's still plenty of time. Spring market usually lasts from early to mid-March to right about end of June. that's when we tend to see the majority of buyers, of buyer activity in the market, or at least we see that uptick. So if you are considering selling your home, I would say get in touch with an agent, and not just to, get your home on the market quickly, but you're going to want to also make sure that you're talking to somebody who knows what buyer expectations are, what's going on in the current market. So often we hear sellers or see sellers that are coming to us and saying things like, well, Redfin or Zillow or whatever third-party website has my property at this price. And my neighbor down the road, 3 houses down, has a home very similar to ours. And he only sold a year and a half ago for this price. Guess what? The market has changed. It ebbs, it flows, it always changes. Buyer expectations have changed. Those third-party sites, they use an algorithm to kind of compare your homes and to get that price, but they're not walking in your home. They're not looking at your home compared to what was currently available, what's recently sold, what is under contract now, and what your current competition is. So that algorithm can only go so far because it doesn't take all those other factors into account. So you're going to, and if you're only talking to your neighbor who sold a year and a half ago for this price, you're missing a lot of pieces of the puzzle.
Well, and the market changes every day, but every 6 months you have to kind of look at it and say, well, 6 months ago, but even now, 6 months ago, everything's changed from 6 months ago. So it's not, you can't say, well, it's like in ours, well, last time I got a mortgage, all I had to do was, and it's like, okay, well, things have changed and, but yeah. So,
absolutely. I even used to, when I would put together a market analysis for a seller, a couple of years back, I was looking maybe a year and a half into the sold comps. Now I really try to, if I can, tighten that up to the 3 to 6 month range, just because, especially these last 3 years, the market changes so much, so rapidly that, like you said, what was going on 6 months ago, you're in a totally different situation at this point.
Yeah. So what would you tell somebody right now if you knew that they were thinking of buying a home? What would you recommend to them?
So if somebody was buying a home, I would recommend, first and foremost, before anything, talk to a lender. Or if you're paying all cash, talk to your financial person. Make sure your taxes are in order. The biggest thing that I see buyers do that gets them in trouble is they get online and they start searching for properties based on whatever number that they have in their head, however they got there. So for some people, that's using an online mortgage calculator, which those can be fun tools. But again, I'm sure you know this far better than I do. Those aren't great as far as getting your actual numbers there. They're missing a lot of pieces of the puzzle. And if your taxes are not done or in order, that could change things, especially if you're self-employed. If you're thinking to yourself, okay, well, I'm going to buy this all cash. I have a lot of money in the bank. Talk to your financial advisor. What is that money tied to? Is that money wrapped up in stocks and bonds? Is that money just sitting there somewhere? Is that money actually available for you to use? So you're going to want to make sure that you know the price range you should actually be looking in before you start that search. It's going to save you a ton of time, a ton of headache, and a ton of heartache down the road.
Yeah, and you have to watch your taxes and your insurance when you're doing it, because you might qualify for this, but then you go into an area that has taxes that are twice as much, and now you don't qualify anymore.
Absolutely.
So
it's really important to have that full financial picture before you start your search.
Yeah, that's nice. So what do you... So, gotcha.
Hello again.
So we do a thing once in a while called rapid fire. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but we're going to ask you some fun questions so we can get to know you a little better.
Oh.
So what was your first job?
My first job was actually at a McDonald's. I lasted about 3 months there because I had no idea who my manager even was. So one day I quit and started working at a small family-owned diner.
Liked it better?
I loved it. I worked in that diner all throughout high school, college, and even if we would come home to visit family. My old boss would call and she'd go, "Hey, you want to jump on a shift?" And I'm like, "I'm only here for 3 days. Absolutely. So it was like a family. So I stayed there.
That's cool. Night owl or early bird?
I am a night owl.
Dog or cat?
Both. I am a huge animal lover. We do a lot of fostering and rescuing. I actually used to work in spay and neuter, and I volunteer at the shelter from time to time. So anyone that knows me is watching this is like dog, cat, bird, lizard, big animal lover.
We had snakes.
Oh, cool.
I had 3 boys and 2 girls, and the boys wanted snakes. And then when my youngest daughter came along, she thought that the boys were so cool because they had snakes. So she wanted one.
Oh, that's neat though.
So yeah, I mean, I was terrified of them, but not anymore. Now it's just whatever. So dark chocolate or milk chocolate?
Milk chocolate.
Favorite color?
Blue.
Favorite word or phrase?
Ooh. Oh, that's hard. I think my favorite phrase was actually one that was said in a mastermind group. And I wrote the quote down because it was so good. We do this weekly check-in. And one of the gentlemen said, I'm doing better. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm doing better. And that's a good thing. And I love that because so often, especially entrepreneurs, we beat ourselves up constantly. So I thought that was really amazing.
That's cool. Favorite movie?
Oh, that's hard. I wish you would have sent these questions over first. I have no idea. I honestly don't know if I have a favorite movie.
Okay. Do you have a favorite song?
I don't think
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good. I'm really big into like Netflix and Hulu. Like I love movies, love TV. So it's really hard to pick a favorite. I have no idea.
Yeah. So what is your favorite mobile app? Careful, it's a trick question.
The GBN app.
Okay, short of that. Do you have any other that you really use a lot or like, or?
This is going to sound corny. Don't come for me, but I really love Facebook.
Okay.
Especially having moved away from my hometown in my early 20s, having moved away from my family. I have a big family. So I love that I can connect with them and see what they're doing, see pictures of their kids, where they're going. It's been awesome being able to do that.
Yeah. And connecting with old friends and stuff that, you know.
I mean, it's always neat because you see somebody that you knew from high school and they do this amazing thing and you're looking at them, you go, oh my gosh. I mean, I knew them when they were, drinking at a field party and had a bucket on their head and now they're running for mayor. So that's really neat to see because I feel like generations before us didn't have that opportunity.
Right. And then they had other ones and I can't remember what they were called, but my kids would do them and I was like, what is that? So then, yeah. So, all right. What are you hearing in the next few months about what you think interest rates are going to be doing?
So, I mean, I don't have a crystal ball, but what I'm hearing from my friends that are in that world, about 5 to 7% rate on 30-year fixed is like essentially the new norm.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm hearing, which is not bad. So people hear that and they're like, oh my goodness, well, a year ago, people were doing 2 or 3. But again, think of how crazy things had to be in the world for us to have those 2 and 3% interest rates.
Mm-hmm.
So, 5 to 7, not bad. Really, really not bad in the scheme of things historically.
7, I think, is about where they were when I started. So I'm old though. So what do you feel about the overall market in 2023 and what do you think the direction's gonna be?
So overall, what it looks like so far, what I'm kind of thinking it's going to be, and again, it's hard to tell the future because if you asked me this question at this time of year in 2020, my answer would have been real weird and been really wrong. But
yeah.
It's looking like we're back to those pre-COVID market cycles of certain times of year you see more buyer activity, certain times of year like 4th of July or around Christmas, things tend to slow down a little bit. So it looks like we're kind of back there. We're in a little bit more of a balanced market. Fingers crossed, especially with, mortgage rates potentially staying where they're at. I think we're going to see that balanced market for a little bit while longer. But as far as Greenville specifically, I think values here are going to continue to appreciate. Greenville's just still growing, still expanding, still in high demand. So I think values are going to continue to appreciate here, but I don't necessarily think they're going to do that skyrocket thing that they were doing, in 2021.
Hopefully.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
So, well, we want to thank you so much for being here with us. If anyone wants to get a hold of Samantha and pick her brain and definitely list your house and buy a house with her, you can contact her at 864-601-4862 or at jha-sir.com. Before we go, can you tell us why referral marketing is so important to you, specifically why you chose GBN to be a member of?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I first started in real estate here in Greenville, I didn't know very many people. My first job here, I worked at a small dermatology office and I only knew the people I worked with. So when I started in real estate, my sphere was very, very small and I really struggled. So my CEO, Joan Herlong, suggested I start networking. So I started doing that. And initially I was networking to make connections so that I could sell, so that I could garner business. Now, and especially with GBN, with the friends first aspect and really getting to know people, what I found is specifically through GBN that it's actually, I'm not even so much doing it to gain clients of my own. Now I'm kind of really excited about the people that are in my group and how I can help my clients by referring them to these people in my group that I know very well, that I trust, that I see the quality of their work. I know what kind of people they are. So I become like a rock star in my clients' eyes because anything they need,
you know where to send them.
I know where to send them. And I know for a fact, I can lay my head on the pillow at night and know for a sure fact that they're being taken care of by whoever I send them to. And that has been, I can't put words to it, how valuable that has been.
And it kind of goes back to the model that they have is know, like, and trust who you're referring. Because if you do, then like you said, you can put your head down at night and know exactly what you did and how you did it and feel good about it.
Absolutely.
So, well, thank you again for joining us, Samantha. We will see you next time.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. So remember, if it's Wednesday, it's GBN Live. See you next time.